In the twilight of a fading universe, when most stars had already surrendered their fire, humanity still wandered among the embers of creation. They had outlasted empires, alliances, and even their own doubts. No longer conquerors, no longer desperate survivors, they had become quiet travelers, guardians of memory. The story begins aboard the vessel Soul's Whisper, a ship not of war, but of remembrance. Its crew was chosen not for strength or cunning, but for patience. For in this late hour of the cosmos, patience was the highest virtue. They drifted toward a cluster of faint red dwarfs, chasing signals thought impossible. The transmissions were not words, not commands, but echoes. Echoes too organized to be random, too patterned to be mere static. The ship's historian, Mara Vey, believed it to be the last song of a civilization that had perished before Earth was even young. And so the crew listened. They listened for nights uncounted as the ship sailed between crimson suns. And the echoes began to change. They were no longer faint, no longer lost. They grew clearer, pulling the humans deeper into the silence between stars, like whispers guiding them through a vast cathedral where time itself had slowed to reverence. What they discovered there was not ruins, nor bones, nor monuments. Instead, it was something unexpected, a world that had chosen to be silent, yet had left its heartbeat behind, an entire planet pulsing with memory. The planet, shrouded in shadow, was unlike any they had charted. Its surface glowed faintly, not with fire, but with crystalline veins that ran like rivers of frozen light. Each mountain, each valley, seemed carved to hold these veins, as though the planet itself had been sculpted into a monument. When Mara set foot on the surface, she felt the hum beneath her boots. It wasn't mere vibration, it was rhythm, a pulse that resonated with her very heartbeat. As she pressed her hand against the crystalline surface, images bloomed in her mind, flashes of lives not her own. A child's laughter beneath twin suns, a soldier's farewell before vanishing into the void, a people, countless generations ago, who had refused to let their voices vanish into dust. They had found a way to store themselves, not as ghosts, but as songs etched into crystal. The crew of Soul's Whisper realized then, this planet was no tomb, it was a choir, waiting for someone to listen. And humanity listened. They sang back, not with technology or translation, but with the oldest voice they had, their own. A melody hummed by one of the youngest crew members filled the alien silence, and the crystals answered. The resonance deepened. Echo met echo. Song met song. Days turned to weeks as the crew dwelt among the crystalline plains. They learned that every region carried a different harmony, each crystal vein tied to a chapter of this forgotten civilization's life. By walking the land, they were reading a book, not bound in paper, but in memory itself. Yet the greatest revelation came when the crew attempted to map the resonance. The patterns did not align into mere music. They formed coordinates, entire constellations hidden within song. The lost civilization had left a path across the cosmos, like a trail of lullabies leading outward into infinity. The crew debated. Some wished to preserve the planet untouched, a relic of beauty never to be disturbed. Others argued it was a beacon, an inheritance meant to be followed. Mara, who had become the voice of the ship, believed both were true. To listen was to honor. To follow was to continue. And so humanity, once conquerors of silence, became carriers of harmony. Their maps changed, their purpose shifted. They were no longer charting stars for resources or survival. They were charting voices, threading together the final songs of civilizations too proud to be forgotten. The journey that followed was unlike any other. From star to star, from echo to echo, the humans wove themselves into the fabric of memory. They carried the voices of the lost with them, humming their melodies, sharing Earth's own songs in return. When the crew finally returned to Soul's Whisper, Mara stood at the observation deck and watched the galaxy spread before her. Once it had seemed a vast and lonely ocean. Now it felt alive, every star a note, every world a stanza, every journey a verse in a greater hymn. Humanity's achievement was not conquest, it was not survival, it was continuity. In choosing not to dominate, but to remember, they had ensured their own place within the eternal chorus of existence. And in the silence of the dying stars, a new harmony began to rise, a harmony that carried both human and alien voices, bound forever across the endless horizon. Not as victors, not as mourners, but as singers in the dark.